Hello, and you join me from a rather cloudy and rainy Leeds Bradford airport this afternoon. I know it's been a while since I've done a video, so I thought why not, let's grab this Boeing 737-800 and fly it down to Turin in northern Italy. So the plan for today is as follows. We'll take a southerly departure out of Leeds this afternoon. Flight time 1 hour 47 minutes, cruising at flight level 350. We've got 184 passengers on board and 8,400 kilograms of fuel. Pretty much a direct routing today over the east coast of England, France, Switzerland, before then descending down into Turin. So, we can get underway now. Just quickly have a look as well at the charts for today's flight. So here we are, currently parked stand 7 here in Leeds Bradford Airport. We've got the pushback tractor set up, ready to take us towards facing the west, and then we'll taxi out onto the runway, backtrack down runway 14, and then depart. The departure is the Lamix 2 X-ray. We'll be heading straight out, and then it's a small turn a few miles after takeoff. 14 DME from the Gamston VOR, and up to flight level 70, 29 miles from Gamston, and then from that point onwards we'll be able to fly up to our cruising level of 35,000 feet. So we'll worry about the arrival into Turin a little bit later on. So that's the depart to discuss. Let's get back into the cockpit of the aircraft. Everything's all set up. I've already set up pretty much the hydraulic pumps can come on. Everything else is pretty much all ready to go. I might do a tutorial video on this aircraft at some point. Maybe put down in the comments if that would be something you're interested in. Everything else is pretty much set up and ready to go. The fuel is on board, the route is in, and the performance figures are in. We're doing a very high power takeoff here, quite a short runway here in Leeds. So it'll be a full power takeoff, and then flaps 5 degrees, and then our V-speeds 135, 142, and then 150. So just go ahead and release the parking brakes, and we can get set off. Have the logo light on, it's a little bit dark outside, so...
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Plane just rolling forward a bit. They're obviously on a little bit of a hill. There we are, and back we go. We'll start the block timer for today's flight and go ahead and get engine number 2 started. And I've got wing views now set up in X-Plane, so we can have the lovely sound of these engines spooling up alongside us. There's 20%. We'll go ahead and introduce fuel. It was raining initially, but it has now calmed down for a little bit, it seems. The weather currently here in Leeds Bradford, you can see on screen. Currently we've got 120 degrees, 15 knots wind, so fairly strong. The QNH is 987, so that's actually, I think, decreased slightly since the start. So I'll just put that down. 3 degrees, so it's a little bit chilly. Yeah, it's 988 set here, so I'll just go ahead and put that down. And we've got a good start on engine number 2, so engine number 1 can come on. And there's a little bit of fuel in the centre tanks, but nothing for takeoff. We'll put it on once we get up to the cruise. There goes engine number 2.
Operation complete. Set parking brakes.
We've set the parking brakes, and engine number 1.
Connecting toes. Stand by.
Introduce fuel on that as well. And just waiting for this engine. There you go, got a good start on engine number 1 as well. Put the engine start switches into continuous, and engine bleeds can come on, and the packs. repeats, and then also due to the low temperature crossed with the rain, we're having engine anti-ice on for the departure today. So just wait for the pushback tractor to let us go.
And bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
There we are. I think this is my first video on X-Plane 12, so it'll be interesting to see how the recording software deals with it. And we're a few minutes late as well. I planned to push back more like 15 minutes ago, but flight planning and recording delays have meant we're a little bit late, but no worry. Got all good from the pushback tractor there, so we'll go ahead and put our taxi lights on. Just do a quick flight control check. Got full right, full left, up, down, and then the rudder. Using my Airbus Thrustmaster joystick for today's flight, so not quite the Boeing yoke that this plane is actually flown with, but does the job. And then we'll set the flaps 5 degrees for departure, and just the trim 5.5 for departure. Let's go. Also trying out a new setting on the throttles to try and get the reversers to work, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. It's good. I like the sounds on this aircraft. They're very, very good. We'll just test the reverse thrust out because I need to check how that works. Good. It works. Because we'll need that later on, and it's a bad idea to land and not know if it's working, really, isn't it? So, just taxiing out. We're taxiing down Alpha for now. We're going to have a left turn and then towards the runway. Need a bit more power on the engines. The two throttles don't seem to be perfectly matched up. I'll have to have a little look into that. So left, and then yeah, the sounds on this aircraft are really good actually. And then we're approaching the runway, so we're going to have the landing lights and the strobes, and then the TCAS on TARA, and increase the power now as we're going to do the backtrack on the runway. Try and be on this runway for as little time as is possible. Up to about 25, 30 knots. And yeah, I know it's been a while since I've done a video. It's just I felt like doing one this afternoon, so I thought, why not? So far, computer seems to be handling X-Plane 12 and recording at the same time pretty well. I wasn't sure how that would go. And then in terms of actually have a look at the clouds, they're scattered 600 feet, broken 1,000 feet, so we should be pretty much in the clouds straight after departure, really. So not too much scenery, I don't think. And then the plan for this video, I'll pause the recording there on the climb out, and then we'll have a couple of like over-wing shots during the cruise, and then pick it up on the landing into Turin. Just do the quick go through the checklist. Actually, we've done all that. The flaps are set 5 degrees. Stabilizer trim is set 5.5. Transponder is TARA, strobes and landing lights are on, and we'll just do a quick check there. Everything is all good, and packs are on for the departure today. Everything clear. We're not on VATSIM this afternoon, so no air traffic control or other traffic to worry about. Taking it a little bit easy just for the first flight back in a video. And I'll get nicely lined up on the runway. There we are. And we'll go 40%. Start the clock. And toga. If that doesn't want to work, okay. There you go, takeoff power is now set. Airspeed's live.
80 knots.
There's 80 knots. There's that wind coming in. There's V1.
Rotate.
And rotate.
Positive rate.
Oh, now the rain starts. Positive rate. Gear up. Keep the aircraft just nicely climbing out. Gears up, we can put it into the locked position.
1,000.
What a lovely day it is here. And into the clouds we go. Go flaps 2 degrees. Auto brakes off. The auto throttle's taken over now for the throttles. And flaps 1 degree. Straight out departure, so we can just go autopilot straight away, really. And then flaps up as we approach 230 knots. And the engine start switches can go into the off position, and the taxi lights can come off. And the plane doesn't seem to be sticking to the departure. I'll just put it on heading select, and I'll take control. I don't know why it's just started turning to the right when it shouldn't be doing that. We're already above the rain now, so the wipers can come back off. I'll just... There we are. Reset the navigation, and hopefully that will work this time. Seems like it has. And we're only cleared up to flight level 70 for the initial first, like, 10 miles. 5,000 feet, we can go standard pressure now. And there we are. That's flight level... Coming up to flight level 70. The cockpit's very dark. I don't know if that's... an X-Plane... There we are. An X-Plane graphical bug. There's still a few of those remaining in X-Plane 12, even though the game has been out for quite some time now. And there we are. We've levelled off at flight level 70, just for the initial... the first few miles of the departure. And that's it, really. Everything that we need to do now, apart from turning off the landing light to 10,000 feet, is done. Once we're fully above the clouds, I'll turn the anti-ice off as well. I think we can say we're cleared up to flight level 350 now. I mean, quite often in real life they would just clear the aircraft straight away, or if we were on VATSIM. And if it was busy, then we'd be kept at flight level 70 for a bit longer. So there we are, we're well above the clouds now, so we're going to turn the anti-ice off. I've been flying the A330 a lot in this game recently, so I'm reminded of how much quicker this plane is compared to the A330. It's a lot faster to climb out up to 10,000 feet. And there we are, have a quick wing view there. Very nice. I only figured out the cameras in X-Plane not that long ago, and when I did figure out how they worked, that was very good. Also, I said about how fast the aircraft was climbing. It's slowed down quite a lot now. But we're coming up to 10,000 feet, and then I will leave a video to be in the cruise. These will go down, the centre tanks can come on, but I'll be a bit later on in the flight. There's 10,000 feet, landing lights can come off now. Don't need the logo light either. And the seatbelts can come off as well. There we are. So everything all good. The aircraft's now climbing up to 291 knots and then Mach decimal 78 in the cruise later on. And I will see you guys at cruise. Right, here we are. We've been in the cruise now for around about 20 minutes. Climbed up to flight level 370 just because of these clouds see down here. We were kind of in the middle of the clouds at 350, so we've stepped up a little bit, 2,000 feet, and that's fine. Descent is in about 40 minutes. Progress all looking good. Turn the centre tanks on for a little bit, and they've now drained, so turn them back off again. Looking, well, 4 o'clock in the afternoon down into Turin, which will be about 5 o'clock local time, and well, I suppose I'll update when it's when we're closer to descent. So here we are. That was, there's a couple of clips there from the cruise, and we're descending in just under 10 minutes into Turin. So let's have a little look at the arrival. So the plan at the moment is to is if we just get up here. This is our aircraft here heading south towards Turin, to the waypoint of Verob. From there we'll be onto the Verob 1 Foxtrot arrival. Going to be above flight level 130 on the first waypoint, and then heading down towards kind of just heading south away from the airport, and then it'll be a left turn and then another left turn to get us on course for the ILS approach to runway 36. In terms of the ILS itself, we got a frequency of 108.7 and a course of 360. The course is already set. We'll just go ahead and go down here and set the ILS frequency there. In terms of the minimums, we're looking at 1144, and the airport height, the airport elevation is 1,000 feet, or 989 feet. So we'll set it up here to 1,000 feet on the landing altitude and 1144 on the minimums just here. In terms of weather then, we've got fairly clear skies. The QNH is pretty close to standard, 1014, and very calm winds, 120 degrees, 3 knots. 10 degrees, so a little bit warmer than Leeds, but still not exactly boiling. And then when it comes to the actual arrival itself, we'll be heading in, and then I think we will take a little bit of a shortcut. Again, like typically if it was a little bit quiet, which it is at the moment, there's no air traffic, of course, no VAT sim or anything. Take a little bit of a shortcut on the arrival. You can see here we need to be below flight level 90, but above 6,000 at Edvok, and that starts, and then we're kind of just the same altitude all the way through, so we can kind of cut basically from Ursep. We'll go Edvok. Actually, no, we'll go Mike Foxtrot 734. We'll extend it a little bit. Actually, we'll have a look at what the actual. So that'll put us on a 12-mile final. So I believe it's a 17-mile final if we go from Mike Foxtrot 518. So we'll go from there. Just cuts a couple of miles off of our route. So like so. There we are, just cut a few miles off, and we're due to descend in just 6 minutes. And go ahead and set the, you've got to be above flight level 130 initially, so that's what we'll set the altitude thing here for. And then the auto brakes Y. Here is the SimBrief runway calculator, the landing calculator. Calculated usually a little bit strong on the 737, so I think we'll go at auto brakes 2 rather than auto brakes 3. Doesn't seem to like it with any other aircraft. It seems to be worse with the 737. Just have a little check. The runway length is, it's 10,500 feet, so we've easily got enough room for auto brakes 2. And then upon landing in Turin, vacate left, and then we'll taxi in. We haven't got any assigned stands from Fly UK, but we'll probably park somewhere with a jet bridge between stands 109 and 113, I imagine. So that is that. Everything all sorted. So I will resume when we're a little bit closer to our destination of Turin. Right, so here we are, just coming up to, well, approaching 10,000 feet shortly, and much closer to Turin. We're currently just 12 minutes away. The airfield you can see just down there, so that's where we're headed, and well, actually just approaching where we can now descend below flight level 130. 120 is the next restriction. Just check the transition altitude where we can swap to the local altimeter setting is flight level 75. Oh, it's 70 depending on, but 75 I tend to go with. And yeah, so it's been a pretty straightforward flight. It was very cloudy until just a moment ago when all the clouds disappeared as we began to arrive here in Turin. Just go ahead and set the heading round because round to the runway heading. So if we do need to go heading select for any reason, then it's ready, which is 360,000. Yeah, some very nice scenery here. It's kind of approaching evening here. It's currently 4:45 local time in Turin. Need to get this plane slowed down. Actually, we've got a speed restriction of 230 knots here, so we'll just take manual control of the speed, and that's good. The ILS itself, then we've got to be on the glide slope at 4,000 feet, and then the go-around altitude is also 4,000 feet. So that's once we've set that at 4,000, we shouldn't need to touch that now for the rest of the flight. So just slow down the plane so we're a little bit faster than we're supposed to be, but no worries. We're getting there. And then we'll take manual control of the altitude as well, just so now we're got to be below 9,000. Does seem awfully close. Just, I mean, it is according to the procedure, it is correct. But 3,000 feet in just 7 miles, it should be doable though. Go 2,000 feet per minute. We'll take manual control of that sort of thing now, just so the aircraft's got a bit of a smoother ride. Seatbelt signs are on, and as we're now coming up to 10,000 feet, we can go ahead and pop the landing lights on as well. And I think the taxi light as well. That can go on just so when the gear is lowered later on, the light there is on. So looks like we're just going to hit 9,000 feet by EDVOC, and then after that, well, I'm glad I kept this extra left turn in now, this extra 5 miles. We could have taken the left straight from EDVOC, but I think that wouldn't have worked quite as well, so that's good in the end. We're still above 230 knots, so just now we're coming up to 9,000. We'll just ease off on the descent rate and let us slow down. We've got the speed brakes out, as you can see there. Yeah, lovely evening approach here into Turin. It's one of my favourite airports to fly into. Not flown into it for a while, but you've got the lovely kind of, it's very flat where the airport is itself, but then you've got the lovely approach over the Alps just as you approach it. All default scenery. There's no, the only mod I'm using is the Reality X-Plane 12 enhancer, which basically just solves some of the lighting bugs, although they're still, it's not really fully supported anymore. So as we saw on takeoff earlier on, there was a couple of lighting bugs still remaining. Hopefully Laminar can get those solved within X-Plane 12 itself without the need for an external mod, but time will tell on that one. We've got to remain above 6,000, although at the moment that's kind of going away. We can get the ILS active 108.7. We're looking for the ILS, it's called ITOC, ITOC. That's what we're looking for on here, and we've got it. Below transition altitude now, we're going to go the local QNH 1014, and that's pretty close to standard, so it doesn't have much of an impact on our readings anyway. We'll just go down to about 1,200 feet per minute now. We're a little bit high based on what the aircraft wants. We'll wait and see what the situation is with the glide slope when we get to it. We're slightly below the glide slope at the moment, so we're pretty much perfect. Just to help slow the plane, we'll go to flaps 1 degree. It's flaps 30 for landing. I've put the landing speed in here as VREF +5 because the wind is under a 10 knot headwind, so just the standard 5 knots, giving us a landing speed of 153 knots. Go 800 feet per minute now, just to kind of ease off on the descent, let the plane handle itself, and slow itself down. Go down to 210 knots now. Can arm the speed brakes, shouldn't need those again now before landing. Arm the approach, and we should pick up the there's the localizer, and then just ease off on the descent so we can pick up the glide slope. Pretty much perfect really, but we're just a tiny bit below it upon turning onto the glide slope, which is what we want. And yeah, was it an hour and 47 this flight was planned to be, so it looks like we're going to be slightly quicker than that. I mean, I have taken a small shortcut here on this approach, so that could be why. Go down to 200 knots, now we've captured the glide slope. We're not going to want to slow down much more than that until we get below 10 DME to the airfield. Just checking the charts, the 0 DME on here is pretty much distance to runway, so it means we have pretty much 13 miles remaining to the runway. Got a tiny bit of a tailwind right now. I don't know if that will swap round. But I mean, generally at Turin it's always runway 36 anyway. Runway 18 doesn't have any kind of proper approaches. I think because of the positioning of the mountains in relation to the airport, makes it quite difficult to approach from the other side. Right, we can go continuous on the engine start switches. Everything else is all ready for landing actually. So going to go down to 180 knots now. We can go flaps 5 degrees just to help slow us down that little bit more. We can always put the gear down a bit early if we need to as well. We are a little bit fast, so I think that's what we'll do. Gear down. That's better now, getting slowed down a bit better. Hear the trim wheel working away there. We can do, actually I haven't done any of these checklists. All the landing stuff was done during the previous bit of this video. The landing switches, the start switches are in continuous, the recall is checked, landing gear is down 3 greens, spoilers are armed as well, and then the auto brakes are set, and the flaps will be 30 degrees. We haven't set those yet. Go to 160 knots now, and down to 15, flaps 15 degrees. And then we'll finally go down to the landing speed and flaps 30, approximately 4 to 5 miles out from the runway. Yeah, it's basically the perfect time to approach Turin, this. I think have a quick look over the wing. That's a nice little view, isn't it? Take a quick screenshot. Yeah, that's very nice. Right, we'll go final approach speed and flaps 30 for landing. You can see there, that's set, and we've got the green light, so we are all good and ready for landing. Wait until about 3 miles out and then we'll take control of the aircraft. And then we're vacating to the left of the on the runway here and taxiing into the stands, approximately around here. Right, that's my throttles. And I have control of the plane now as well. Trying to keep it a little bit slow, so we'll just try and keep it. It's why it's kind of quite good to do a flaps 30 approach in the 737 rather than a flaps 40 approach. It just helps keep the speed up a little bit more. We still need a little bit more though. There we are. Nice calm wind, so quite a steady approach. I mean, there's not even any wind registering.
Approaching minimums. Minimum.
Continue. And I was waiting for the altitude callouts, then there weren't any. And down we go. Yeah, there were no altitude callouts there. I must have them disabled on the settings. First green, decel. Just kind of fairly low power reverse. And
80 knots.
70 knots, stow the reversers. And manual braking. Stop the clock there. And hello and welcome everyone to Turin. Just vacate the runway to the left here. Disable the auto brakes and disarm the spoilers. And back to flaps position 0, and then landing lights can come off. Engine start switches back to the off position and get the APU on. There we are. Nice little landing, I think that. I haven't actually got any program currently working to track my landing rate, so we'll see. And then we've also got a marshaller add-on called Auto DGS that can provide docking guidance for us. I'll just check the chart quickly to see if we have auto docking guidance here in Turin, or if we need to have a marshaller. Sometimes it says, yeah, I think the stands at the terminal do have the docking guidance, so we'll use that, I think. The APU's fired up, all good. And yeah, just as it's starting to get dark here in Turin. Well timed, really, to have a nice nice approach. We went quite far down that runway. Not the full length of it, but again, I mean, still though, Auto Brakes 2 was definitely good enough. There was no need for Auto Brakes 3 there. SimBrief does seem to quite often overestimate the landing brake configuration on the 737. I'm not sure why, but there we are. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. I know it's been a while since I posted one. And it's coming to the terminal now. Yeah, there's no guidance on Fly2 as to what stand we should use, so I'll just take one with the jet bridge. I'm not really sure. I mean, Fly2 are the holiday airline part of Fly2, so maybe they wouldn't really use a jet bridge. I'm not sure, but we'll just go with it. So we're taxiing down Lima, and then we should just be able to get access to the gates direct from Lima, so there's no need to take any other taxiways from now. And the estimated block time for this flight, the scheduled block time was 2 hours 5 minutes, so it looks like we're going to be a little bit early. Makes up for our delay departing these Bradford, so get these passengers on their skiing holiday pretty much bang on time. And then in terms of stand number, I think we'll take, how about 111, all the ones. Just there's 109, 110, and coming up we should have 111. Just slow the plane, taxi lights off as we turn in. Slightly overdid that, I think. And you can see there we've got that visual docking guidance system. That is a mod called Auto DGS. Very good little mod, actually. It's amazing what a few free enhancements will do to X-Plane, really. I'll just slow the plane and we're going to stop just short, yeah. So a bit more power just to get us going. The final, like, centimetre, and there we are. Parking brake set, and engine 2 off, engine 1 off. And there we are. Welcome to Turin, everybody. Just wait for the N1 to go below 10%. There we are. Beacon light can come off. Seatbelt signs off as well. And probe heat off. And there we are. Audio being a bit weird now. It's like cutting in and out. I don't know if that's coming through on the recording. Connect the jet bridge and ground power on, APU off, and then the fuel pumps can come off. And there we are. I won't go outside because the ground power unit is so loud that it will be causing issues. Get the ground handling up to the aircraft, and there we are, doors have opened automatically. Stop the timer there, 1 hour 55 minutes, gate to gate, and that's that. So I hope everyone did enjoy this video. I will just, well, I mean, I'll turn down the volume of X-Plane a minute, and then we can head outside. There we are. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm not sure if there'll be any more of these kind of videos, but If there are, then yeah.